This is Roger Stone for American Sovereign Bullion. Since 2020, the U.S. dollar has lost over 20% of its purchasing power. Meanwhile, gold continues to rise. Call 844-272-2428 or go to asbgold.com now to get your free gold and silver guide and learn how to protect your wealth with physical gold and silver delivered to your door or held in a gold IRA today. So go to asbgold.com now. Don't wait for the markets to drop. That's asbgold.com.
We gather here tonight to bring women back to their rightful place.
The Testaments, a new Hulu original series from the executive producers of The Handmaid's Tale.
It's easier to accept a story than believe that the people around you are monsters.
The battle isn't over.
There comes a time when you have to take action, when you have to choose your own destiny.
Never quite as it seems.
Watch the new Hulu original series, The Testaments, streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney Plus for bundle subscribers. Terms apply.
This is Cop Talk, talking crime, cases, and backing the blue. Now, here are your hosts, Captain Ed Mehmet and Detective Kevin Schroeder.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cop Talk. I'm Kevin Schroeder, your host, and unfortunately, my co-host today is not with us due to he's recuperating, and hopefully he'll be back with us soon, and we wish him well, and that's Captain Ed Mehmet. Today's guest on Cop Talk is all the way from the West Coast, East Coast, West Coast thing today, is Jimmy Amormino. Jimmy is a former LAPD police officer, and he did 28 years with the LAPD, and then he went on to do 14 years with the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. Jimmy, welcome.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
So why don't you start off by telling our listeners your background, you know, where you're from originally and how you get on the job, and bring us through your career.
I grew up in Lincoln Heights area of Los Angeles. At the time, it was all Italians. I went to a local high school there. I was planning on becoming a lawyer. I wanted to go to USC Law School. I was working in a department store to help pay for college. And unbeknownst to me, the store got robbed.
Wow.
Two young LAPD officers came in, started talking to them. I was 19 at the time. They looked cool to me, and they said, "What do you want to do?" I said, I want to go to USC, and I want to be a lawyer." He said, "You got to think of joining LAPD." He says, "You can learn law from the street level up, and a lot of LA policemen become attorneys, and you should think about that." And they kept talking to me, and I said, "Yeah, that sounds pretty good." In 1971. $1,500 a month sounded pretty good.
Sure.
So I said, "Yeah, I'll apply." And I joined very young. So they accepted me. I had every intent after the police academy and after graduation to go back to school. So needless to say, I never went back one day.
Okay.
I had so much fun on LAPD that
I'm sure
I loved every minute of it. As a young officer, 21 years old, I was assigned a foot beat on Hollywood Boulevard. So that's an eye opener for a young cop.
Yep.
So I saw a lot. At the time, Hollywood Division was the busiest LAPD division there was. In 1972, 17 to 20 radio calls is a lot.
Yeah.
And we were getting 3 what we call hotshot calls. Robbery just occurred, attack just occurred, 3 calls at one time. So somehow we handled them all. It worked out good. After graduation, I was assigned to Northeast area, which was really nice because my grandmother lived there and I basically grew up in that town. So I felt very comfortable there. I worked patrol. At 23, I made training officer, which is a 2-striper. It's called P3 in LAPD terms. I'm not sure what it's called on the East Coast. But basically, it's a training officer. When recruits graduate, they come in the car, and basically, I would teach them how to be a police officer. So I enjoyed every minute of that too. I was then assigned to the gang car in Northeast Division. We had a lot of gang activity there. I enjoyed that very much. I learned a lot about gangs. Mostly they were Hispanic gangs. I thought it was very intriguing. I was able to actually help a couple gang members get out of the gang. Oh. But it's very difficult because that part of Los Angeles goes back to 3 or 4 generations. Couple times when we made arrests on gang members, you call in the parents. Many times the father was not around.
Gotcha.
A few times we got a hold of a grandfather, and when the grandfather came in, he was still a member of that gang. Goes back generations and generations. Very hard cycle to break. There were some heartbreaking stories. I remember one, and we're going way back to like 1974, but I still remember this case. I just got out of court. I was trying to help this gang member who wasn't really a bad guy. He was a lost soul with no parental guidance. Mm-hmm. And I pick him up, buy him a hamburger, talk to him. And again, a nice guy. So I got out of court. I still remember, stopped to get a cup of coffee. I got a call, and I still remember the address. And we're going back 50 plus years. A shooting just occurred at 745 Isabel Street. Again, I still remember that address. And I said, oh my God, he got shot. After all this time, I've been trying to help him. He shot. Well, unfortunately, when I arrived, it wasn't him. It was his 9-year-old sister who was watching TV next to her mother and unfortunately took a shot to the head. So that was horrible.
Was it a stray bullet was it a stray bullet from the street, or?
It was a drive-by shooting intended for him.
Oh, it was for him. Okay.
Intended for him, and unfortunately got his sister. There's a couple of tragic stories like that. Mm-hmm. After that, I was assigned to a car with my partner, Bob Bain. And all we did was respond. Again, I'm using LAPD because I'm not sure what.
That's fine.
We only would respond to shotguns. So we call them hot shot calls. We didn't have regular calls like see the woman, a burglary report. There were only high priority calls. So that was a lot. That was fun. I mean, going from one very serious call to another. So I did that for a couple of years, and then the office of the chief of police, Edward Davis, I'm going way back, called and see if I was interested in coming and work the chief of police office. Well, at 24, I'm not telling the chief of police no. So I went to the office of the chief of police, and basically I was in charge of any big visiting dignitaries, government people from other countries, setting up what they needed in LA, any interviews, any type of security, anything like that. So I did that for several years. That was under the Bureau of Special Investigation. So I got to work a bunch of different assignments in that area, which was great too.
Right.
I did that for years. So I thought, hey, my career, I'm only 24 years old, and hey, I'm working some great assignments. So I had a college degree. I said, my career is going to be looking good.
Right. Start off well.
Well, what happened? Here's what happened. So after Ed Davis left, Daryl Gates, I don't know if these names mean anything on the East Coast, but Daryl Gates is probably one of the most famous chiefs I had dinner with him and the chief of police from Montreal, Canada. I still remember his name, Andre DeLuca. We had dinner. I drove him back to his hotel. I dropped him and his wife off. And a drunk driver going 65 miles an hour crashed into my police car and compressed 5 vertebrae in my back.
Jeez. Lucky to be alive.
So it was a lot. Lucky. But I'm hard-headed. I was out only for a couple of weeks. I wanted to get back to work. But what happened at the time in LAPD, they put me on permanent light duty, which means I cannot promote. I cannot work the street, and I cannot promote.
So what are you behind?
Things have changed.
You're behind a desk, basically?
Basically, desk assignments. Mm-hmm. But the primo desk assignments, to be honest with you, out of the office of the chief of police. But still, that's not why I joined. In 28 years, other than that 2 weeks off from that accident, I never missed a day at work. Sick, never.
Yeah, so you loved it. You loved the job.
I love the job. I went to work every day. But as you know, Kevin, as we get older, time goes by fast.
Yep.
So before you know it, it's 28 years. And I said, well, I am getting older, but I was only 47 at the time with that, with a lot of tenure behind me. But the way the pension system's set up, you're basically working for 25% of your money. But I wasn't there for the money. I was there because I liked it.
Right.
I set up another law enforcement function with all the Southern California law enforcement agencies. And the Orange County Sheriff was there. He remembered me from the OJ Simpson trial. At the OJ Simpson trial, my only job was to report to the courthouse, manage the media, which there were about 250 different stations there from around the world. In fact, they camped out there. It was called Camp OJ. So my primary job there was to monitor the media and provide security for the main lawyer and celebrities coming into the trial. So I did that for as long as it lasted. The day of the verdict, I remember the captain calling me and says, let me know when the verdict's coming out because I have 700 officers for you. 700. I mean, that's bigger than most departments.
But you're going to, as we knew, when we found out, you would need them.
You're going to need them.
Yep.
I said, yeah, okay. So I go up to Judge Baskew's meeting and says, hey, we have a verdict quick. Actually, they said 2 hours. It was shorter than that. Right. It really was.
Yep.
A lot shorter.
Yep.
I knew before 2 hours. So anyway, in 2 hours, we had 700 LAPD officers there. A lot of people celebrating. I wasn't one of them because I had very strong feelings.
Neither was I.
Regarding his guilt. I had met OJ Simpson, as many other LAPD officers did, at the golf course and things. In public, he was a very nice guy. But when all these facts of the case came in, as a police officer, and I'm sure we'd had our own opinions of what the verdict should have been. Yes, so did that. So the Orange County Sheriff and the Undersheriff says, hey, I remember you from the OJ trial. We're starting a new press relations office, and I'm going to offer you a job. And I said, Orange County, to tell you the truth, my whole life's been LA and LAPD.
Right.
I never even heard of the Orange County Sheriff or their office. So they were nice guys. They said, hey, we'll make you a director, which is great. It's civilian, but it's basically one rank above a captain. And you run the media relations. No interference from us. You have your take-home car, and it was a hard thing to do. So at first, there were 10 people that applied. I didn't want them to pick me, to be honest with you. So, but I went through the motions because the Lieutenant Alba from LAPD kept pushing me to, you should take the job. You should take the job. I was going to take it, but I reckon, I told him about you too. And I didn't want to tell my lieutenant, no, I don't want to do it. So I said, I'll just do it to keep the lieutenant off my back.
Right.
So I took it. So they narrowed it down to 7. I said, oh God. I said, there's still 7 people. Maybe they won't pick me because I really don't want to go. And got down to 2 people. And I said, oh my God. So now the sheriff himself called me in and interviewed me. And I got home, phone rang. Hey, we want you to start. I said, okay, this was March of 99, March of 99. I said, you know what? I did have some major projects that I promised the chief I'd have done. And I told the sheriff truthfully that I can't leave LAPD now because I'm working on a couple of things, major projects that only I can do now. And I can't take the job right now. He said, don't worry, we'll wait for you. I said, really? I said, I'll be honest with you. It's probably going to take 6 months. He said, that's okay. Mm-hmm. I thought he was going to tell me, forget it, kid, get out of here.
Right. Next.
He said, what do you think? I said, probably September. He said, okay. Then I said, okay, you know what? This has to be meant to be. Mm-hmm. So I retired from LAPD on a Thursday night, and Friday morning I was with Orange County Sheriff's, which I knew nobody or nothing about the department. I said, but I better learn quick.
Yeah, well, you did 14 years with the Sheriff's Department, so I'm sure, it was a good run as well.
It was a great run. I had a great time. I would do it again, but at the time I was getting up there, probably the second oldest guy on the department.
So how does the ranks go with LAPD? Like in other words,
ranks go, patrol officer is called P2, training officer P3, sergeant 1, sergeant 2, which is 3 stripes and a rocker, lieutenant 1, 2, captain 1, 2, 3, deputy chief, and then chief of police.
And what about the rank?
There's been some changes now. They've added commanders. There've been some changes since I left.
How about the rank of detective?
Detective 1, 2, 3. A detective 3 would be equivalent to a lieutenant. And he would basically be in charge of like a homicide unit or a burglary unit, but he'd be, again, equivalent to a lieutenant.
Right. Well,
but I didn't have any chance of any promotion because of the injury.
In NYPD, they have, when it comes to, the ranks go police officer, sergeant, lieutenant, captain, deputy inspector, full bird, inspector, 1-star, 2-star, 3-star chief. There's only one 4-star chief. That's the chief of department. But with the detective rank, which I was, you have ranks 3rd, 2nd, and 1st. And 3rd, first being the top rank. There's third grade when you first get promoted. Then you can move up to a 2nd grader and move up to a 1st grader. And I was fortunate enough to retire as a 1st grader myself.
Great.
But I also did 28 years, So,
yeah.
But some guys.
So it's the opposite LAPD. LAPD detective 1, 2, 3. Yours is 3, 2, 1, basically, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Yes.
Opposite.
Yes.
Right. Sometimes I joke. I say, maybe I should have been a 4th grader. No such thing. but it's not with NYPD. It's not easy. Again, there's a lot of guys that deserve grade. They don't get it. It's a lot of guys in detective squads. They work their butt off, and unfortunately, they don't give out. A lot of most guys who get grade deserve it, and I'm not saying no one doesn't deserve it. But as far as guys who deserve 2nd or 1st grade sometimes wait a long time, or sometimes retire and never get it, and they work some good cases, But
same thing, and I would say the same thing. Similar incidents
like everything else, political, right? Politics.
Correct. Politics do play, and more today than ever.
Right. Exactly. But going back to let's switch gears and go over to Tiger Woods. Okay. I know you have experience with some of his cases in the past. As you know, recently he just been arrested for DWI, I believe it was. So let's touch on a good Tiger Woods story.
So Tiger Woods, I was watching the news one morning, and saw that Tiger Woods was involved in a very serious crash on Hawthorne Boulevard near Silver Spur. My daughter lives there. So I became alarmed. I called her. She didn't answer. So I jumped in my car and drove over to the accident scene. The scene was, of course, the car was rolled over. A tree was taken out. A large city sign was taken out. The point of impact was the curb on the driver's side. And so apparently he was driving down Hawthorne Boulevard, collided with the curb, went into the median, took out a tree, a huge sign, went into oncoming traffic. Luckily, there were no impacts, but this is the most busiest street in Rancho Palos Verdes. It's a 2 or 3 lane highway. Literally thousands of cars go up there. Luckily, there were no traffic coming up. Mm-hmm. He collided with the curb and rolled over 4 times. If you have any experience in law enforcement, you know speed was the cause.
Right.
So luckily, no one got hurt. I made contact with my daughter, and I kind of monitored this. The media said, well, what probably caused the accident was a deer ran out in front of him. Well, there are no deer in Palos Verdes. I didn't like the media making excuses. They made another excuse. There's no traffic light. There's no lights in Palos Verdes. That is very true. You don't need lights after 7 o'clock in the morning. That morning, I actually went out for a walk. It was a perfectly clear day. When I did speak to my daughter, I said, what was the weather like? It said, a beautiful sunny day. Why? Because the news are making excuses that either a deer ran out or it was dark. I don't like that. Someone could have got killed in that accident. And like I said, my daughter lives a half mile from there. So I took a personal interest in it, and I wanted to listen to everything. The sheriff of LA County went on the news and said, oh, yeah, that is a very dangerous street. I took exception to that because I've driven that street thousands of times. I've lived here for 43 years. No exaggeration, thousands of times. It's not dangerous at all. Any street is dangerous when you're going at a high rate of speed. A local newsman, Dave Lopez, who'd been 50 years doing working for CBS out here, has a podcast. He said, will you talk to me about the accident? I said, well, I don't have any inside information, but let's go to the scene, look at it, and I'll give you my opinion, but I don't want to give you my opinion until I have more facts, but I'll give you a preliminary one. So we drove. He said, what do you think? I said, high rate of speed. And the point of impact, politicians, news people said it was a curvy street. It was not a curved street. There was only a slight slide curve, no danger at all. Then I heard the sheriff say that there are many accidents on this street because it's a very dangerous street. I took exception to that too. It's not a dangerous street. So what I did, being an ex-media guy, I wrote a Public Records Act, and I wanted to know every accident that happened on that street between the coordinates that they gave. Well, I went even further. I went to the 2 major intersections, and where the accident happened is between the 2 busiest intersections there are. Again, literally thousands of cars. So I wrote a Public Records Act, and I got a copy of every accident. So, like I said a few times, thousands of cars. In a year's time, there were only 13 accidents, and there was no accident within 4 football fields of where Tiger Woods crashed.
Wow.
Not one.
Interesting.
4 football fields. Not one accident. There's a high school on the corner that you have 16-year-old drivers. That's with a couple accidents. following too close, nothing to do with the curves. There was a drunk driver running a red light. It has nothing to do with where he crashed. Nothing. Again, 1,700 feet was the nearest accident. Didn't like that. So again, as the news goes on, when they took Tiger Woods out of the car, they asked him, you know where you're at? He said, yeah, Florida. They later on during the investigation, they said there was an empty pill bottle. They said, well, okay, well, they'll do a blood work and they'll see if he was under the influence or anything, which they did not. If I had to speculate the cause of accident, it's only speculation because I don't know. Probably texting. He was 10 minutes late to a golf thing. Hey, we've all done it. Oh, I admit it. I've done it.
Sure.
You
do.
You always say you're closer to where you're at than you are, and you're going probably faster. So I would speculate that he hit the curb. But again, it's only speculation. I don't know. But in every accident that Los Angeles County Sheriff, every report, there's a box checking cell phone. Was he on the cell phone? 13 out of 13 prior accidents, they checked cell phone use. They did not check his cell phone.
Interesting. Very
did not. And so they estimated his black box said he was going 85 plus. He didn't even receive a ticket.
Wow.
And the reason it still upsets me is if something would have been done and got him the help he needs, because this is his third accident.
Right.
Maybe that new one wouldn't have happened. And it probably someday is going to save either his life or somebody else's.
Well, I always say when these types of incidents happen, whether it's a athlete being arrested for carrying a weapon because he thinks he's got to protect all his jewelry, or he's locked up for DWI, driving while under the influence, I don't understand why they do not hire off-duty or retired law enforcement personnel. There's many guys and girls out there looking for a job like that. Many of them have a job like that. It can't be about the money. Obviously, they have the money. It's a safety net. It's a great plan. It's a safety plan. It's a comfort zone. I just don't know why more and more athletes who wind up getting jammed up every day. You read about another athlete getting jammed up for some reason or another, and it could save their life one day as well. Besides, maybe someday going to jail. I just don't know why they don't do it.
I don't either. I agree with you 100%. Hopefully they'll suspend his license for a year or so, get him the help he needs.
Right.
Because it's going to save somebody's life. I mean, this is his fourth one. He's lucky no one got hurt or killed. And he's very lucky on this one here, going across a 3-lane highway that there was nobody, especially kids going to school. So one more point to that. Then a local politician, I'll keep the name out, says, we have to conduct a study of that terrible, dangerous street. I called the office. I said, what terribly dangerous street? Well, where Tiger Woods crashed. I said, I'm going to bring over 13 traffic accident reports, and I'll take you for a ride in my car and show you it's not a dangerous street. They're willing to spend millions of dollars to conduct a study. It's not there.
Yeah.
But after I gave him everything, dropped it. Yeah. It's silly. We should not protect people. If that were you or I driving, they would have done all that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Oh, without a doubt. So, Jim, what's your thoughts on the Samantha Guttrie's mom? I believe her name is Nancy. What's your thoughts on that case?
First of all, I have no inside information, but I do have experience.
Right, of course.
When I first heard it, especially the ransom notes, calling news stations, calling TMZ, I said right off the bat, because many people asked me what I thought about it. In fact, I put a couple of things on Facebook saying I have no inside information, but I don't believe any of those ransom notes. I think it definitely, in my opinion, what happened was obviously somebody in the circle, either workers friends of workers, someone knew that was Savannah Guthrie's mother, and they planned a kidnap for ransom case. And you can see it was a very amateur attempt where he had to grab some weeds to cover up the ring. Very amateurish. That coupled with ridiculous ransom demands.
Right.
As you know, you work a ransom. Hey, we have your mother. We want $6 million by noon today, or she's dead. That's how they go. They don't start calling, because every time they call a different place, they're increasing their chance of getting caught through cybersecurity. So I told everybody, I don't believe any of those. It doesn't make any sense to me. This guy's an amateur. So my opinion was, what happened? Kidnap for ransom. Again, somebody from the neighborhood, friend of a worker, someone that had knowledge of the house and knowledge of her. They make entry into the house. She's 84 years old with a very serious heart condition. Very serious. Medication. It's frightening. That would be horribly frightening for anybody except me and you. Because I know how we would handle it.
Yeah. No,
but you take a woman, 84 with heart, he makes entrance. You can see there was something went wrong in the kidnapping by the droplets of blood. They were droplets. So that means, as you know, it was not a severe, like a stab injury or anything, or you would have had a stream of blood.
Right.
Somehow they used force, may have picked her up. She could have bumped her nose against a wall. He could have hit her. I don't know. But something went terribly wrong in this kidnap inside the house. We took her out the front door. Again, we know it's the front door by the blood drops. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings because I may be wrong. I don't know what happened. I believe she was dead shortly after that.
Yeah.
Because no ransom was made. I feel that now she died probably of a cardiac arrest, which would scare anybody, let alone an 84-year-old woman. I believe the condition, I believe she probably passed away immediately. Now you don't have anybody to make a claim for.
No. And I've had guests.
I believe it's as simple as that.
Yeah, and I agree with you.
She's dead.
We've had this conversation before. We do agree with that.
Yes.
And I've had other guests on here, round table with other guys, speaking about the case as well, going back a month ago. It's been, I think, over 2 months now. And with that said, you know, again, not to be a Monday morning quarterback because I was not there.
Yeah.
I'm part of the investigation. I told absolutely. But just from my experience and your experience being investigators, right? Detectives, doing police work for so many years, you know, investigation 101, like the crime scene, okay, was a mess.
I agree.
Where's the canvas knocking on doors and checking? Everyone's got a Ring camera today. You know, where was the canvas for the Ring camera? Where was the canvas for the investigation? The interviews, the neighbors, checking plates, checking the car readers, checking, any summonses given, red light summonses, you know, from the cameras versus even the cop officer writing a summons in town, you know, whatever. I don't know where that went. And again, this is just
my thoughts are exactly like yours.
Yeah, exactly.
My thought,
right.
I thought exactly this. I don't like the Monday morning
absolutely not
either. But
no.
But the first thought I did was yours.
Yeah, I mean,
why is the media trampling through the blood droplets right after that?
Right.
That whole area should have been completely secured for an extended amount of time, not keep coming back, right. Because it's a huge media event. And again, I was the media. I was out at every scene. They're trampling through, possibly contaminating evidence and keep coming back. It should have been totally secured. You and I probably would have totally secured it for a long period of time, probably days.
Exactly.
Not hours.
I mean,
I thought it was a horrible investigation. And again, not the Monday morning quarterback, but that is basic investigation technique.
Yeah.
Basic investigative techniques to
plain
secure
view,
the area.
Plain view observations. I mean, just that's what we see was what we're calling. That's all. But definitely, and you know, I wish the family well, and hopefully there's closure some way, somehow, and arrest
I
as
hope
well.
I hope she does have closure. I hope. I don't believe she's alive. I don't
agree.
believe my
I
own,
agree with you.
and I don't believe she was alive.
Yeah.
Maybe a day or two at the most. I never wanted to say it. I had numerous requests for interviews, and they asked me what I thought. I told them the truth, but I didn't want to hurt the Guthrie saying that.
Right.
So I denied. You're the only one I've done.
Right. We've spoken many times on a few cases. That was one of them. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
So, Jim, what are you doing nowadays?
Nowadays, the day I retired from Orange County Sheriff's, I got a call from Robert Shapiro, who was OJ Simpson's lead.
Know the name.
Asked me if I wanted to come and work for him. We became friends. I was in charge of his security. Of course, we have different opinions, but that's okay.
Right.
He always was respectful to me and asked me if, hey, you want to work some cases with me? I said, Bob, I've been working 42 years. Law enforcement. I don't know if I want to do it. I said, no, we'll have fun together. You know, I work high profile cases, and with your experience, we can work well together. You don't have to come to the office. Well, that's great. Mm-hmm. You can work from home when you want. I said, I don't like writing, and I'm done with computers. I'm done with writing. He said, they don't have to do any of that. I want you to meet with the client. Well, heck, I can't beat that. Mm-hmm. And on my own time, I do live in Palos Verdes, but I do have a desert home too. I was up front. I said, if I'm in the desert on vacation, I'm not coming in. I don't want to do it. He said, no problem. Everything I said, he said, okay. So I said, okay, I'll do it. And I'm still doing that today. So I do security consultation and litigation stuff for a large criminal and also a large personal injury attorney. But it's at my own pace when I want to do it. I believe a lot of retired cops, you're busy doing things.
Right.
I have to be busy too.
Thank God.
Keep my mind. Right. I have to keep my mind active.
Right.
It's
Me
not,
too. No.
It's not for the money. Yeah. It do make extra money. That's good too. Yep. But you have to stay active. You can't just.
I agree.
Yeah, police work is high energy, as you know, and you're always up, ready to go. You can't just stop.
No.
That's in my personal opinion. You just can't stop.
Never.
This is Greg Kelly. Donate now to Toys for Tots, which works year-round. Go to toysfortots.org. Toys for Tots supports children in need throughout the year with programs like the Toys for Tots Literacy Program. Established in 2008, it has provided over 63 million books to disadvantaged children. The Toys for Tots Literacy Program is committed to providing disadvantaged children with direct access to books and educational resources that enhance their ability to read and communicate effectively. Go to toysfortots.org.
Well, you're right, Jim. We have to continue because that's what we do. You know, we get up every morning and we want something to do. So we do what we know best, and that's investigations and police work. So with that said, I'd like to thank my guest, Jim Amormino from LAPD, a longtime friend, good person, does great work out there with the LAPD. And until next time, of course, I want to wish our Captain Ed Mamet to get well real soon and come back. Because I need a partner here, and you got to come back, Ed. So God willing, you'll be back soon. Until next time, God bless you, God bless America, God bless law enforcement throughout the country, and of course, God bless our U.S. military. Thank you, and be safe out there. Till next time.
Sacco and Felice, New York and New Jersey's premier attorneys at law. Their team brings decades of experience across a wide range of practice areas. Whatever life brings, they're your legal team. From everyday matters to complex cases, they've got you covered with the experience you need and the results you want. Because when life gets complicated, they make it simple. SaccoFelice.com. SACCOFILLAS.com. 2 C's, 2 L's.
USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Tap the banner to learn more and get a quote at USAA.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.